Right, welcome back to the AM show. We are happy that you stuck with us, more than happy, because we want to let you know, good people, that today we are stepping up the energy with a guest who brings the heat, the soul, and the rhythm that'll make you want to move in your kitchen right now. All right, she is a swing dance icon, a master of movement, and a woman who's been turning beginners into ballroom bosses for years. From the streets of New York to stages worldwide, she's got that classic flair with a modern twist. We are beyond excited to have the wonderful, the incredible, the unstoppable, and always amazing Margaret Batiuchok.
Yeah! Woo-hoo! Welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, good, good. I'm happy to be here.
Amazing, amazing. We are so happy to have you on the show, Margaret. Just a little, before we even dive in, we just want to let you know that here on the AM show, me and Nadine, as soon as we hear any instance of music playing, we start dancing uncontrollably. So you're in good company right now.
I noticed that. I thought, wow, what a great beginning. You're both great dancers.
We are nothing compared to you, Margaret. You are the pro, and we have so much to talk about, so much to get to, because you have really just dedicated your life to dance, dedicated your life to movement, to all different genres. But we kind of just want to start in the beginning and talk about where that passion, where that drive, where that love of dance came from. So where did it?
From my parents, I guess. In the house, we always had music. It wasn't nonstop music, but my father was a heart and lung surgeon, and he was like a dedicated doctor, but he also loved the arts. He played every instrument by ear, and he loved dancing, and he was a great dancer. So when they would go to functions or weddings or something, everyone would love his dancing, and my mother could dance with him, and they loved dancing. So, oh, that's at Lincoln Center doing Hustle.
There you go. Yeah, you got the moves.
Yeah, and then I loved, when I was a kid, I used to do getting dizzy contests with my brother and sister. We'd turn and spin in the living room, and I could just turn and turn and turn and not get dizzy. And so that was maybe the start. And then I danced with my father, and he did a really great polka. And he'd like lift me up and, move me around the dance floor. He's very rhythmic. And so I think that was my start.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds like a lively, lively household. I love that.
Yeah. And now, were you inspired? You mentioned that your dad also, he played a ton of instruments and things like that. A lot of times the arts, they're all associated. Outside of dance, did you also incorporate playing instruments or was it just, you just stuck to dance? You were like, there's something special about dance.
I love dancing, but when I was growing up, people weren't dancing. I grew up in the 60s, and it turned to just, kind of, people my age didn't really dance. They would move a little at a party, but it wasn't like the era before me, which was like the rock and roll era where everyone was dancing. Like, I know people like 10 years older than me, even 5 years older, would go to like sock hops and things, but I missed out on that, but I made up for it.
No, I mean, you've definitely made up for it, and you actually made a huge decision, because you actually were going to school for pre-med, and then you decided to drop that, and then was like, hey, I want to do dance full time. Bring us into all of that world, that decision, and how you came to it.
Well, first I was at Mount Holyoke, and I was pre-med there, and I was young. I got in early decision, and I had started, so I was 16, and then I went to Alvin Ailey's company came to Mount Holyoke, and I loved that. I was listening to a lot of blues at the time. It was like 1969, 70, and I loved blues music, and here were these dancers dancing to the music that I loved. So that kind of stuck in my brain. I ended up dropping out and just exploring the world, and ended up visiting my roommate in Minneapolis, who transferred to the university there. And then I got involved in a counterculture collective that ran a cafe that had music every night. So I'd be in the back trying, moving around, but there wasn't dancing really at the cafe. But I decided I wanted to go back to the East and study dance. So I moved back to Cambridge, where I had lived for a few months in that this summer before I moved to Minneapolis. I was in Minneapolis 2 years and I just loved it there. But then I moved back and I started studying dance with Consuelo Atlas, who was a soloist for Ailey. And oh, that Ailey show was fabulous. If it gets to your city, it's an art show that was at the Whitney. It was really inspiring. Wow. So I started with Consuelo Atlas and Bill Mackey, who did African American, and Stanley Brown, who did tap, who was Jimmy Slide's teacher. So I had like really great roots, and roots that kind of were transferable to swing dance. So after I was studying dance in Cambridge, I decided I'd go back to school, and I went to Cal Arts, so California Institute of the Arts in California, and I got a degree in dance, in modern dance and choreography. And Gus Solomons was there, Donald Byrd, and so then I moved back to New York, and I wasn't sure what to do, and I went back to school for physical therapy. I was doing well. I was at NYU, and I switched to pre-med because I thought, well, I'll go back to pre-med. And I was doing really well, but every day walking from my apartment on 20th Street to NYU, I would pass this club, City Limits, and they'd have dancing, and they had big picture windows. So I would go in, and I ended up going in every night, and it was country western, so it was two-step and swing, and then I joined a clogging group. I was in foot and fiddle clogging group, so I really got into dance. And I met my partner George Lloyd there because they started having big bands once a week. So I decided, so George Lloyd he was a Savoy ballroom dancer. He was an older black dancer who was like the smoothest dancer I'd ever seen. And so I was like, wow, this is totally amazing. So we became partners right away and entered the Harvest Moon Ball 6 months later, and we won. Wow. And so then I switched my major back to dance at NYU. And during that time, I also was in Norma Miller's performance group as an understudy. And Frankie Manning came in one day, who was like the king of swing. And he enjoyed dancing with me. He said, oh, I was his favorite partner, and he would invite me to do things. And we opened up Lincoln Center together twice.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like really fabulous. So I switched my major to dance and got my master's from NYU in dance from doing research on the Lindy, of the history of the Lindy. And my thesis was on how different dancers of different generations all can do the Lindy, but they do it differently. And the differences and your own personality can come out and is respected, and you can be great in different ways. So I focused on Frankie Manning, who was the oldest. He was in his 70s. And then these were people I was dancing with at the time and performing with, Frankie, and then George Lloyd, who was in his 60s, who I won Harvest Moon Ball with. Then Charlie Meade, who was in his 50s, who was fabulous, and he was from Jamaica and England, who danced with Buddy Bradley. And then Tom Lewis, who was a student of mine, who was really great. So they were all different generations of 70s, 60s, 50s, and 30s. And I compared their styles. And actually, I sell copies of those videos, and the thesis is at the Lincoln Center Performance Library. But if you're interested in that, now they're historical documents because it was done in the 80s.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good for
At
you.
the time, they were current.
Yeah, good for you with that.
Anyway, that was my start. And so then I just kept dancing, and I started teaching, and I still teach, and I teach at Lincoln Center's. It switched from Midsummer Night Swing. Now it's called Summer for the City, and it's free, and it's wonderful, and it's all summer long. They have different programs, and I'll be there on August 8th.
Fun.
Teaching there.
Nice.
Oh, and I just have to say, during COVID, I really got into dancing freestyle again. Like, I would go to the parks. There would be these great bands who would play in the parks, like David Oswald, the Louis Armstrong Eternity Band, and Buck and a Quarter. David would play at Riverside Park, and then A.L. Vilner, big band, would play at Washington Square Park, and then Buck and a Quarter, who still play old-timey type things, like old music, which I love, like my father used to love, and he played in Washington Square Park. So I would go from park to park, like almost every day, dancing in solo, and I got into like solo jazz and solo movement. So I developed a solo jazz class, which I teach on Zoom. And I still do that. I still go to dances, and it's really become very popular. Dancing by yourself. You don't have to dance with a partner, but you can still. So I switch off dancing solo, and then I'll dance with my partners. And there's really great young dancers around, like Ryan Gross, who I did Lincoln Center with the last few years, is fabulous, and he's in his 20s, and just great dancers coming up.
Yeah, you get a variety of people that you can dance with. I love that you dance solo by yourself as well. It's such a variety, but I know you touched on a lot of stuff there, and I kind of want to break down each of those parts there. I want to take it back to 1983 when you said that you did win the Harvest Moon Ball with George Lloyd. I mean, this was at Madison Square Garden, and it was such a big moment, especially culturally as well, because you guys were the first interracial couple actually to compete and also win as well. That is a big moment, especially in the dance world. What did that mean to you guys?
Yeah, it was really big. George and I, we met, and there was I was more naive at the time, and I didn't realize like such prejudice existed. I grew up in Flushing, Queens. I'm a New York person, and I remember one time, we would go out, George and I would go out dancing out to Long Island to Rampart Street. And it was a jazz club in, where was it? In Port Washington, maybe? And there was a live band, and we would go out, and at first people would kind of look at us like strangely. Well, he was older and I was white and the whole thing. But then like very soon after, we'd get up on the dance floor, everyone was super friendly, and everyone loved us, and we loved everybody there. So it became a group. And it would just happen that way. One time we were going to go down to the South to do something, and George says, well, you better see if it's okay that I come. And I said, what do you mean? And so I did, and they said, well, maybe it's better you don't come. We don't want problems, that George doesn't come. Well, I didn't go, of course. And I that was like kind of an awakening to me of like, wow, that's really interesting. I was like, had never felt that before. So when we entered the Harvest Moon Ball, we were the first interracial, like the Savoy Ballroom had different, that was a mixed ballroom in the 40s and in the early times, and during my era in the 80s and 90s, there it was it's not something that I thought about, although there were a lot of white dancers and not as many black dancers, but black dancers were coming up with hip hop and developing current dances. And now it's much more mixed. There's the black community is much more involved in Lindy Hop, and so it's switched. But at the time that George and I won, it was a very interesting thing, because the Harvest Moon Ball used to have the black couples would compete and the white couples compete. But interracially, there were no interracial couples.
Wow.
Even though people did dance together. And then we won, and that was the last year that they had it. That was the last year that they held the Harvest Moon Ball in Lindy. They still continued to have it in other dances at a hotel, but not at Madison Square Garden. And it was just very interesting. Glad to be a part of it, but sad that it exists. I mean, like, I don't know.
Bittersweet, because it's no longer there, right? But you had a great experience and you won. You were the final winners. That's good.
Yeah, we won. And it wasn't like when we were entering that we were thinking, oh, we're interracial. We just loved dancing together. Yeah. We were friends, we were partners, and we competed. And then, then you realize later, this was the first couple to enter. And we were the first ones to win. So it was like,
you made history.
Yeah.
Made history.
That's amazing. Now I have a question. I've seen Lindy Hop, I've seen swing, I've watched numerous videos. I like to watch dancing videos for inspirational purposes. And it is so energetic, and it just relies so much on, you're relying and leaning on your partner. Can you describe for our viewers who might not be familiar with what the Lindy Hop is? Can you do your best attempt to describe what the style is and how it differs?
Yeah, the Lindy Hop has a basic that separates and comes together. So if you're doing like waltz or foxtrot, you're together for most of it. You might have a slight opening, but in Lindy Hop, you have a breakaway where you break out. And you can also do solo moves like while you're dancing and then come back together. Styling has changed. You can dance slow Lindy, you can dance smooth Lindy, you can dance bouncy Lindy. You can do a Lindy Hop that has aerials and swings out really hard.
Yeah. So
you could do it any way you want it. And it's just got basic steps and a feeling of a swing. So it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
There you go.
Oh, that's me at Layer Rhythm. That was at Marcus Garvey doing like I took a workshop in what do you call it, rap, and because I like writing, I love writing. I'm in, like during COVID, I was in like 4 writing groups, and I'm still in them per week and on Zoom. And I write a lot, and so I was, thinking, well, rap would be a good thing. And then they asked me to be in the performance at Marcus Garvey. It was great. Yeah. And that other clip was me at Lincoln Center doing a smooth swing.
Oh,
yeah, see now this is bouncier. The little part before, so I used 3 different partners, and this is like a bouncier swing. That's Andy Lee I'm dancing with.
So my question is, so when you start dancing with random partners, like who's leading? Is it the man that's always leading? And how do you know which moves you're gonna do, or what type of Lindy or swing are you getting into? How do you know when to spin? Does he tell you when to spin? How does that all work?
No, you have to physically, bodily lead the person,
Okay.
but you don't want to force them through it. You kind of get into a groove. So you have to get into a groove together. And so these days, like I lead, I've always led because I like lead. I mean, I'm a teacher, and I've been leading for years. But now a lot of women are leading, a lot of men are following. So now you go to a dance and they say, "Oh, do you want to lead or follow?" But the leader leads the moves, but the follower can like take it over a little bit and do something. And so you're always working together. Like George Lloyd, my partner, who I won Harvest Moonball with, when he was in the service, he did the followers part. And from doing the followers part, he became a fabulous leader, or maybe he just had it innately, but he was very smooth and gentle. So you just do the move because he'd be going into it. It wouldn't be like he'd like force you to do this step. So that's what I go for. I like smooth leads. I like leads that can just kind of allow you to do it, and it's natural. So it feels comfortable. It doesn't feel like a rigid position that you're holding, but it feels comfortable and open and jazzy.
Yeah.
And it's changed over the years because it used to be the men led and the women followed. It was a tighter position. And now the music also, like New Orleans music, started coming in more popular, and solo moves became like more popular. And then probably during COVID, and I was dancing a lot more solo. So the whole style is a little bit more like body movement and wavy than more of the traditional simple body and then the arms and the kind of running feel to it. Now it's more like creative in the movement.
Wow.
So, and the women can lead and take over and do something. So a lot of the old time dancers say, "Boy, I can't lead these people anymore because, they don't, they're doing their own thing."
Yeah.
But that's more of the style now.
Yeah.
But it does, you still want to be able to do something together. So that's the challenge.
Well, and doing it together, you know how to dance solo, you know how to dance all different genres, and definitely you're good at doing it together. And we actually have a video of you dancing with Charlie Meade. So let's check it out, and then you can tell us what dance this is.
Woo! Talk to us, Charlie and Margaret. Talk to us, baby. We hear you.
Hey, there it is. Wow, brava. We will be right back, guys, right after this. We're going to take a quick commercial break.
All right, welcome back to the AM show. We are having a fantastic conversation with Margaret Batiuchok. She is incredible. She is a mover, a shaker. She's teaching us about the swing and the Lindy. I'm very inspired. I'm very inspired, and she is back with us. So I'm glad you guys stuck with us. We have more from Margaret. Margaret, how you feeling?
Good.
Amazing.
Exciting.
We were watching your clips, and you are moving. You are moving so smooth, very fluid, just going, and you guys just work so well together.
Thanks.
Amazing.
So is this the Lindy you guys are doing here? Can you tell us what kind of dance
this is now that part. The other was solo jazz, like it was a jazz routine. This is the Lindy where you break apart. See how we come in and then I go out.
Ah, I got you.
There, that part. See, I'm out away from him, and then I'm back in, and then I'm away.
Yeah. Wow. So I just have to know, Margaret, what's that feeling like? What is the feeling like when you hit every step? We heard the announcer just calling you guys out, cheering you guys on. The audience is going crazy. What's going on through your mind there in that moment?
Well, it's like getting a ride. It's like being on a ride when you're being led into something fun. And it's just really exhilarating. You also have to pay attention to what's happening. So you kind of have to be right there in the moment. You know, thinking, and just trying to do like moves that you like or that feel good, or think of new moves, like what would come from that.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
It's great. And the music is so inspiring. You know, the music, if you hear music and you can just start moving.
Yeah. And now, when you're doing the Lindy, is it an element of just freestyle implemented in there? Or are you guys kind of just vibing off of each other and just going where?
Well, there are definite steps. It's not freestyle at all. It's there's a pattern. It's a 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 and 4 5 6 7 8. It's a step ba ba step ba ba. You know, so it's bum ba bum bum ba ba bum 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 ba ba. You know, it's footwork.
Yeah.
It's steps when you step. There's a 6 count for turns. There's an 8 count for swing outs. So it's different steps that you have. But then there's jazz moves that you can throw in. Like, see, this is a little routine section, but this was a performance. But you see, that turns into that. So people could do that on the dance floor. Just break away, do something, and then come back and then do the swing.
There you go. Well, now we're breaking it down. I'm just like, wow, because I'm just so impressed when I see that.
Yep.
And I want to talk to you about another move. So it's called the Shim Sham, and you actually are credited with starting the group Shim Sham tradition at swing dances. So I actually found, I was like, what is Shim Sham? So I found some folks. This is Shim Sham, right? Is that?
No, that's not Shim Sham.
That's not
Lindy
Shim
Hop.
Sham? Oh, that's Lindy Hop. Okay, so what is Shim Sham?
It's a line dance, and it was a tap dance that was that the swing dancers turned into a simplified thing without the shuffles. And people do it all over the world. I mean, the Shim Sham tap dancers do it. It's a known dance, and it was when Frankie Manning was coming to our dances at the Swing Dance Society. I'm one of the founders of the New York Swing Dance Society. So in 1985, and we started this group. There were no other big dances downtown. And so we started a weekly event. It was bi-weekly, every other week. Then it was weekly, and it was at the Cat Club. We rented the Cat Club, and then that closed, and then we moved to Irving Plaza. I mean, these were big dances, and I hired all the bands, great bands like, I hired Illinois Jacquet and George Kelly, and we had just fabulous bands, Frank Foster, and plus like up and coming bands too. Anyway, so Frankie showed me the Shim Sham, and so I thought, okay, people knew it, and we started a performance group in the New York Swing Dance Society, and so they all knew it, and so then I said, well, why don't we do it at every dance as a little break? And people said, no, we want to just keep dancing. And I said, well, why don't we try it? So we tried it, And so we did it and I asked Frankie if he would lead it, and he said, sure. And so he led it when he was in town. And then when he traveled, I led it. And we do it at every dance. And then he traveled around the world in his 90s even. And people brought him to Sweden and everywhere. And so he taught people the Shim Sham everywhere, and they did that tradition there too. So, you know, I don't take credit for the Shim Sham, but it was my idea to do it at the swing dances every week. And he led it. And then that tradition now is done all over the world with the Shim Sham, of people doing it at the swing dances en masse, you know, everybody together, to the band, or even to, like, you know, other music that's on recorded music. So
that's exciting. Good for you. Yeah, you're leaving your stamp, your legacy on the community. I love it.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Now, I know you're trained in multiple styles, but I know we've been talking about the Lindy, you know, we've spoken about Shim Sham, spoken about swing. Do you have a number one? Maybe we've answered it already because we've probably been talking about the Lindy for so long, but do you have a favorite style?
Well, you know, there's this dance called nightclub two-step that I absolutely love, and not a lot of people do it, but now it's becoming a little more popular because the Lindy came from the two-step. It's just side, close, side, close, side, quick, quick, slow, quick, slow. And that developed into the Lindy. And then to make it smoother, you cross the foot over. So instead of together, if you go together, no, that's not it. That's Lindy Hop. Anyway, it's you're doing smooth dancing to the side, and it kind of flows. And they do the two-step variations in Balboa, which is a fun dance too, which is like a fast dance. You can do it to fast music. You can also do it to slow music, but it's more of a it's not such a triple. It's not like a moving dance. It's more in place with turns, and but there's a break in it that is a two-step, or quick, slow to the side. And that's the pattern. That's the rhythm pattern. Anyway, I like a smooth dance that takes you around the room, and you can use the pattern, and it's simple. I love leading it, and it's kind of a foundation of the Lindy. So when I'm doing Lindy, I always add a little in, and then come back to the Lindy.
You put your own little flair to it, your own little style to it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's so exciting. And I feel like we've just been learning so much just in the past, 15 minutes, 20 minutes chatting with you. You are a great teacher, because I'm already like, oh, okay, I get it. Oh, I didn't know that. So clearly you know what you're doing. You've been teaching for over 30 years. Why was it so important for you to teach dances like the Lindy to the new generation? And what do you hope that they get in, keeping the tradition alive?
Well, I like Lindy because I like the community of Lindy, the people that do Lindy. They're fun, they're joyful, they're open to people. So that's, I think, why I stuck with Lindy as my community, even though I do other dances. I do tango, I do, Latin, I do waltz and foxtrot, and I love all that. But the Lindy community feels like home. And so I love teaching, and I love teaching beginners, because it's an opening. It's like they discover something. My husband, I even taught my husband to dance, who is like a fabulous person, and he's creative, and he appreciates dance, and he loves art. He's an architect, and he's really supportive, and I taught him to dance, and it's just so much fun to be able to bring dance to somebody's life.
Yeah, no, totally. And we actually have some footage of, I believe, some of your students. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm getting some of these dance moves mixed up, but I think they're doing the waltz here. Is this the waltz?
Oh, yes.
Yay, I got one right.
Yes.
I got one right.
Oh
So tell us about
how did
this.
you find that?
Oh, we do our
That's
research here,
great.
Margaret.
It is. And wow. That's my husband and me.
Oh, that's your husband. Well, there
Right there.
you go.
That's my
Perfect.
George. Hey, George. That's me like a few years ago.
Wow.
So tell us about this. Is this kind of like the final session of the dance class, or what portion of the class is this?
Yeah, this was a routine that we were rehearsing to do a class performance. And at that performance, it was really cool because I had students who were, Jacques and Marie, who were at the French Institute, and their friends were in my class, but they're also singers. They have a band as well. And so I had them singing and us dancing in the performance. And then at the end, and it was like one of my mother's and father's favorite songs. And so then we had everybody singing at the end to the dancing, who was watching. So I thought, it was fun to have the singing element in it because they were great singers, and also everybody could join in singing as well as doing the dance. And it was kind of a tribute to my parents.
That's amazing.
So beautiful. And it's all in the arts, right? Singing, dancing, all of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All grouped together. All grouped together. Now, is this? Do you have multiple? This is one of your many classes, I'm guessing. Am I right? That we're taking a look at here. And how many classes do you? How many classes do you teach in total?
I teach let's see, 2, 4, probably 7.
Wow.
I teach it, but I teach it on Zoom. So I teach on Zoom. I teach a solo jazz movement class, and so I teach two of those a week. Plus, I have an in-person, and so that's just body movement, so that you can come up with moves while you're solo dancing. And then I have a swing class, a swing and ballroom class on Mondays at 6:30. It's open to everybody. Then I do 2 stretch classes a week, like floor stretch, like dance stretches and yoga things that are to keep in shape and I have a senior group in that. So I have all ages. I have students in their 20s and their 30s and then in their 80s.
Wow. Look at that.
All the way
That's
through,
awesome. Yeah, that's a
my stretch
variety.
Students, 3 or 4 in their 80s. Yeah, and same with the solo jazz.
Well, it's good. Keep your body moving no matter what age you are. We always try to promote that here. Stretch, move your body. Now, how difficult is it to teach over Zoom, though? I feel like for dancing, is that a little bit more challenging, you not being able to physically maybe position
It
one
is
of your
more
dancers?
challenging if you're doing, like some people, like during COVID, I taught during Zoom. In fact, a couple who met in my class years ago for their anniversary, they moved to North Carolina. Their daughter, who was a teenager, gave them a gift. She found me, and I was their teacher when they met. And they gave him, for their anniversary, a private lesson during COVID.
Oh, my goodness.
I reconnected with them, and now Jenny is still taking my solo jazz class now.
Wow, look at that.
And it's like amazing, and so she just carried on like for years as a student now, reconnecting. But to do partnering is a little harder, but solo movements like raising your arms or like moving your body, you can see that. You can do it like your hips, you can do the shoulders, you can do all that just by watching on Zoom. That's very easy. And so those classes are nice because everybody gets a good workout, but also you learn different parts, it's all the body parts, like the feet, the legs, the thighs, the hips, torso.
And if you start moving your upper body too, then you get this down, then you can add the legs to it maybe later on in an in-person class. Yeah, I just want to move now.
Yeah.
But you
You
inspired
can
me,
still do
Margaret.
legs. You can still do legs, but the partnering is something that's more challenging.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do leg movements and steps. You can do step patterns like we do cha-cha and stuff in the solo jazz class. Or just, like a line dance concept where you can just follow along.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
that.
I think we need to take a class. I think
Yeah.
we're going to have to do this.
Yeah.
I'm excited to move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Margaret, we were asking you about how many classes you taught. Wanted to say we were asking for a friend, right? But it's really for us.
Yeah.
We want to know. We want to know when we can get some lessons.
Yeah.
From the master.
Maybe, we can learn
I
the
do
flips.
privates also. I do privates all the time, so.
Well, there you go. Well, that is so exciting. Well, I mean, there is just so much to chat with you about. You have done so much. You've accomplished so much. I mean, you have been awarded as well into the Swing Dancing Hall of Fame, the National Living Legends of Dance. You've gotten the Torch Award. I mean, I'm just so glad that people are recognizing your amazing talents. And I just wanted to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us this morning, to tell us about your history. And it got just me personally, I'm sure Z, just got us excited to move and be a live and watching your videos, just see the passion and the energy and how much fun you're having with it. And just a reminder, just to have fun in life. So thank you for all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a joy because it just brings me up. It lifts me up to dance. Like no matter what's going on, I know if I dance, I'll feel better.
There you go. Yeah, just move, just dance. So everybody, thank you so much. Round of applause for Margaret Batiuchok. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was so nice to meet you as well.
Yeah,
Bye,
thank you
Margaret.
so much. It was wonderful.
Yeah, take care. And guys, if you're interested, we have, there you go, dancemb.com if you guys want to get some lessons with Miss Margaret. I mean, she knows what's what.
She knows what's what.
Yes.
Come on. Margaret is moving and shaking and grooving. Margaret, you're amazing. And yeah, I'm going to get my dancing shoes and I'm going to get in contact with you.
Yeah.
Great.
There you go. All right, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we have more of the show when we return, so don't go anywhere. We just